Righto guys, welcome back. It has probably been several weeks since my last confession to YouTube. Holidays, school holidays, firewood cutting, all the stuff. It's quite easy to see why some of these, well, I reckon only one in 3 projects gets finished. Probably be a lot less than that, I'd say. But it's easy to see how they hit the back burner and people don't get back into them. Anyway, that's not me. Back on the motor today on the XC MOFFAT. Update for the channel. I have bought another car. There will be a build project on. I'll get into that later. There is my kid over here waving around at me trying to get my attention. So I better remind everyone that he's in again today. I got the young fella, Sonny's helping me out on the car. So haven't touched the car at all, to be honest. Bought a few other parts. As you see, there is nothing extra really happening. I've blacked out a few parts, got a new dipstick for it, cleaned it all up, but today we are gonna yank this off. So today we'll be pulling that cast iron manifold off that weighs a ton, swapping out for an alloy one. It is a clone, it's not a proper Edelbrock. I assume it's a clone of an Edelbrock air gap. I've heard good things and it was dirt cheap, so I'm just gonna whack that on today. Plus it doesn't have any badging on it and it's black. I'm going to do a little bit of porting on it. I've mentioned that before. But I think today we're just going to yank this off all the battery lasts in my camera. And let's get into it. All right, guys, see you in a sec. All right, so first up, we'll just yank all these bolts out and then you sort of lever it just out of here, front and back. I have swapped these out before with proper Edelbrock ones and I've heard that you can't use the bolts, but I've used the original bolts. So I guess we'll have to suck it and see. I might have to buy bolts for it at the end, but like I said, I've used the original bolts before. I don't know if there's like a height difference in here somewhere, but yeah, time will tell with that one. Anyway, I've got the gun here. Gonna hold the camera a little, man. All right, just gonna rip these ones out first, 1/2 inch. Righto, first one's a 1/2 inch, these ones are a bit bigger. Alright, that's all of them. And now we just got to try and pull it off. Righto, so you want to just get your lever and then just pop that up, there you go. And then around the back end, much the same. Should be a little ear if I can get in there. Same again, pop them up, little ears in the back there. And I think that's it. I think I'm pretty much loose. So now I'm going to try and work out how I'm going to lift this thing. These things weigh a ton. Righto, so probably have to pull these bolts out, might be easier. Alright, pull them all out. There we go. Everybody. That thing there weighs an absolute ton compared to the alley ones. Alright, pretty typical of what you're going to see in here. All nice and clean. Everything as it should be. Not expecting to see anything in here. Standard ports. I'll give them a little bit of a clean, but the gasket hasn't even stuck to them. Alright, so just testing it up, it fits down all snug. A lot of people say that you have to grind these lugs off too, but that's been fine. But that's as far as the bolts go down, so definitely need to just order a bolt kit, which is probably no big deal. I would say they make all kinds of different things for this to suit, or I can just find the right bolts. But either way, I'm happy with how it sits. Bit of a gap here, but as always, you don't use a gasket here anyway, you just build that up with your gasket maker anyway. But apart from that, it's a nice smooth tight fit the whole way around. The machining looks good. Same as in the back, we'll build a wall of silicone there. yeah, pretty happy with how that's going to go. So I'm going to yank this off, set it up on the bench, and I want to go through and just clean up any casting. Being that it was sort of a cheaper one, I'm not looking for power, but I will clean it up. Take the sharp edges off, maybe take a little bit out of the turns, but I'm not going to go crazy on it, that's for sure. We should have it all set up in no time. Righto, so first I'm just going to take this sharp edge off here. They've cleaned it a little bit, but I'll just take that out. Just take that sharp edge out of here. I'll take these ones out of here, just these rough lines. I'll set the camera up anyway. Remember to keep putting WD on these as well. These aren't made for aluminium, they're quite easy to clog. This one is clogged up, even though I was spraying the hell out of it, so I'll double what I'm spraying, that's for sure. So just cleaning up around here, there was a few marks from the casting, and sort of just taking a little bit out of the edges, nothing fancy. This isn't a high horsepower application, it doesn't need a lot. Just taking a little bit out of in here. A little bit about it on this turn as well. I'm just going to smooth it out a bit more now. I'm not going to polish it. I think that's just more of a gimmick than anything, especially for something like this. And then I'll clean up the ports. And these ones, I'm just going to clean these up and right down in there, so blocking the light probably, not sure if you can see, but down in there just clean up a little bit of that right down in there. So nothing too fancy, but I have bought some of these long suckers, so we'll see how they go. Just getting down in here. Might take a little bit out of the turns, but not a high horsepower, just a 302 with a cam. Like I said, just cleaning it up, so we'll get into that. All right, that's one side done. I'm not sure how that's gonna pick up on camera. Just clean up the casting more than anything. And being a cheaper, like I said, as an eBay clone or whatever, there was a little bit of swarf on the holes they'd cut, so be mindful of that if you're gonna go the cheaper route. But yeah, nothing flash. Anyway, other side. All right, again, just cleaning the ports up. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see. So I didn't go all the way, just cleaning some of the casting up. Giving it a bit of a smoother run. Same as in the top here. Righto, so that was just a quick clean up of the ports, taking it out. The burrs, the D burrs aren't really right, so you've got to make sure you keep spraying it with the WD. The long ones, these wouldn't actually work in my pencil grinder, so I had to use them in a drill, which was all right because I didn't want to port it out. If I was doing a major port job, I'd have to buy better equipment. But that has cleaned that up. I'm going to order the bolts and give this a wash out, order the bolts, and then when I come back, we'll be fitting it. So just hang tight. Righto, so I've ordered the bolts. They're on their way. A little bit bored at the moment, so I thought I'm going to whack in the running in oil and just prime the oil pump just to make sure everything's getting oil up. So I'm going to dump this oil in now and then I'll show you how to prime it. Righto, so it's got a belly full of running oil and I've just made up this crude extension. It looks dodgy because there's tape on it, but I don't have a longer one, and the tape is to stop it falling apart and dropping inside the engine. So this goes straight down into the drive where your distributor would go. I can't think of the size off the top of my head, but you want to run it counterclockwise and you just need a slow pace. And all you need to do is get a little bit of oil coming up out of here. So I'm going to hit that now, and fingers crossed. Righto, quick cut. I forgot to put the oil pressure sender in the back to block it, so we've definitely got pressure. Let me just jam this in, we'll go again. Alright, so you can just see now, that's starting to drip, that's starting to drip. There's a few drips coming out there, there, and just want to keep going. There we go, there's one there. So we're getting oil up to the top. Oil, 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 oil. You don't want to go too crazy, that's all you need. I would like to see a little bit coming out of that one before I stop, but that's exactly what I'm after. So that gives me a good idea that I've installed the pump correctly and that we have oil pressure. So for now, I'll leave it at that. And the next thing you'll see is when these bolts turn up, and then we can get that manifold on. Righto, we've got the Edelbrock bolts are in. Looking schmick. This is all cleaned up, ready to go. Let's just make sure, I'm not going to use the gaskets for here, they're sort of useless. They don't always leak, but they're known to leak, so just build this up with your red, like your silicone, whatever it is, your gasket goo maker. So we're just going to do that here. Small bit to hold these on, drop it on, and see if this thing looks anything like what it does in my head. Just something a little bit like that. So you've just built your gasket up. I just use this stuff, the high temp, what do you call it? Red RTV. Same as the back, just give it a bit of a layer. Just a little bit around the gaskets sealing, because these gaskets are shit. I think I've mentioned that in a previous episode. I really fucking bought the wrong kit. Quality wise, that's for sure. But anyway, they'll do the job. I'm just gonna let that dry a little bit, and then I think I'm just going to whack it on, bolt it up, and show you what it looks like. Like I said, hopefully it looks like the picture I have in my head. Alright, so got most of this done. I won't show you just yet, but this needs to actually go in there a little bit, so I'm just going to grind the edge out of this. Yeah, on top of that, these rocker covers that I've done up, I sort of also have to grind these out, because they're actually interfering with the roller rockers. I hope that's all it is. I hope they still fit on after that. They're not real high. You can see that I broke one off already, turning the motor over, so I'll grind them off and make it all fit up. That should clear. I'll just check it now, but that's factory, baby. got the 650 double pumper on there. I haven't actually given that any attention yet. It's Brawler. They've swapped out the back on it. It's been on another car, so I should probably go through the whole thing and kit it out. But as it sits now for mocking it up, it's all good. I'll get that ready before I actually start it up. But yeah, looking good. Loving this manifold. I mean, it's a cheap option. Bolted up absolutely perfect, if I'm honest. Bit messy here with the goo, but I can straighten that up with a knife. But everything else, these are the Edelbrock bolts because mine original ones didn't fit. Everything on here is doing as it should, and I'm bloody stoked. So this came off another car. Mine was absolutely corroded. Here's the original one. Obviously this has got the vacuum switches and stuff on it, but this has been blanked off already, so I'm not going to mess with that. I'm not going to use any of the ports because most of it was for emission controls and stuff anyway. I'm doing away with all the emission stuff. The engines run a lot better without it. Righto, so I'm going to finish this video up quick, but I will show you the motor real quickly. I'll go over it, but there is a massive storm rolling in, so I've just mocked it up because I'll put different rocker covers on it to fit it in the engine, but everything's on, fitted. The only thing left to do is I'm going to need to space up the bottom of the air filter, because when I ordered the air filter, I ordered it with a massive drop in the base. It's probably a little bit too far, and only ordering I think it was a 2-inch air filter, the choke pokes just above where I go to put the top on, so you can see here it's just a little bit too high, so I will space that up. But yeah, there she is, exactly what I had pictured in my head. Hopefully it all fits under the engine. I'll be able to in the engine bay, I'll be able to close the bonnet down on it. Otherwise I have got an inch spacer in here I could sort of shave down or whatnot, but that, apart from plumbing it in, should be ready to fire up. Obviously we'll whack the Dizzy in once it's back in the car, but yeah, I'm stoked. The only things left is got the pulleys, sandwich plate, and the flex plate there. Already blasted and painted all of that up. All my rocker cover bolts have been blasted and painted. Not sure which one of these I'll be using yet for the water pump, but they've been blasted. I've got about 3 or 4 alternators on the go. I'm going to test one, see which one works, build it, paint it. And then, before that all goes together, I've got down here, that little sucker. So I'll be getting that out this week. Gonna go over it and then bolt this all together. Hopefully maybe with the extractors, bolt all that together, and then we're gonna shoehorn it in theory. And then, I mean, where do we go from there? We start plumbing it up. Tail shaft, I've got all that. The wiring, yeah, so we'll have to start messing with wiring, and then the rest of the car is pretty much just panel and paint on the exterior. So I gave myself sort of 2 years to get it going. It's been 12 months now, sort of me working on and off, plus with filming, it takes a bit longer, and also me waving my hands around. But I think it's coming along well. Haven't had too many dramas. Man, if you've been watching the whole way through this series, thanks for following. I have got another project. It's a 4-wheel drive. I'm going to do a build on that, so there will be some building. I'm going to be a canopy, suspension, tyres, lift, all of that sort of stuff. We're going to put a winch in it, so there'll be more of that content. There's going to be some more camping content, so like and subscribe, guys. I'll see you on the next one, hopefully. Thanks, guys.